Hello and welcome to Movies Are Terrible. I'm Jeremy and this is part 1 of my 20 Days of Halloween, 20 Days of Horror Film series, where I'm going to review a movie that I haven't seen every day leading up to Halloween. I know you may be asking, but Jeremy, aren't there 31 days of October? Shouldn't this really be 31 days of Halloween? To which I reply to you, good sir or good ma'am. Yeah, you're right. And yeah, I probably should, but I didn't even come up with the idea till like October 5th, so give me a break. Total classic Jeremy move. Procrastinate until it's too late and then be like, I want to do that. So you get 20 days. Hopefully you enjoy this list. On this video, I'm talking about Cult of Chucky. This is the 7th entry into the long-running Child's Play franchise that kicked off in like the mid to late 1980s. It's about a puppet who is possessed by the spirit of serial killer Charles Lee Ray and his reign of terror over multiple different owners throughout the years, starting out with a kid named Andy who wanted nothing more than a good guy doll for Christmas or his birthday. And you got to be careful what you wish for, kids, and this is the example why. Sometimes the toy that you want the most is a murderer who is going to kill you and your family. So, as I said, 7th entry into the series. The first Child's Play movie, let's be honest, it's not exactly a masterpiece. Like, it's a fun movie. I enjoy it. And, you know, as a kid, I thought it was super cool. But it's not exactly a classic, at least in my opinion. So, the sequels, they just kind of meh. Curse of Chucky was released a couple years ago, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. It was a much more, like, Baroque or Gothic feeling entry into the franchise. And instead of just scaling it back and, you know, stripping it back to basics, they even go more Gothic than that. And I thought it worked really well for the series. Less emphasis on the sardonic humor or the gallows humor and more emphasis on being a creepy movie. It also introduced audiences to Fiona Dourif, who is Brad Dourif's daughter. Well, she was reprising her role in Cult of Chucky. This is 4 years after the events of that film, and she's in a mental institute. She was recently released from maximum security prison. She's been put in this facility because now she accepts that she was the one responsible for the multiple murders and that it actually wasn't Chucky. But problems strike when all of a sudden a good guy doll is delivered to the hospital, and they decide, hey, we're going to use this as a kind of treatment to deal with whatever repressed issues that these characters have.
He's coming for you.
It's important that we all explore it together as a group. I think I have something that will help.
Whoa.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
So that was smart, but we're going to talk about this movie as general as I can without really spoiling it, but come on. So if you don't want to know anything going into the movie, like why it's called Cult of Chucky, then maybe just add this video to your favorites list and come back and check it out after if you decide to see it after you've seen it. And if you don't want to watch it or you don't care about the spoilers, then hang out. It's fine. It's cool. We'll have fun. We'll have a good time. So there's a couple of different kind of key characters in the movie. One of them is a woman who thinks she's a ghost. One of them is a guy, I think his name is Michael, and he suffers from multiple personality disorder. There is a woman who burnt her house down, and then there is another woman who is disturbed and actually smothered her own baby, and that's why she's in here. Well, when this good guy doll, Chucky, gets sent into the hospital, the girl who killed her baby immediately latches on to Chucky and starts treating him as her own child. Well, shit starts to go awry, as they often do in these kind of movies, and before long, another Chucky doll shows up. So now we got multiple Chuckies in work. Which one of them is actually alive? Which one of them's just a doll? Or is there something more going on in a movie called Cult of Chucky? So this movie is kind of a best of all of the Child's Play films. We get actors and actresses returning and reprising their roles from pretty much all of the previous films. Andy, from the first movie, is shown before the movie even starts, and he's on a date with a girl, and then she finds out what a fucking wacko life that he had, and she's like, this is too much, and she leaves. So he's a little bummed out. He goes home, he opens up this like vault, like a locked box, and pulls out Chucky's still living head, like the original Chucky. It's all fucked up. It's like split in half, and it's got bolts holding it together. And Andy, I guess on the regular, just tortures this thing for kicks because, I mean, hey, let's face it, if this is the life you lived, yeah, you might do something similar. I'm not passing judgment on old Andy because I don't know his life. It kind of seems like the director expects that the fans of this series like really give a shit about these characters. It's directed by Don Mancini, who has done almost all, if not all, of the Child's Play films to date. So he definitely knows the property, and I think he expects that we do as well also. Obviously, he has an affinity for it. I mean, he's been playing in the sandbox all of his life, but for me, even as somebody who's seen them, I just am like indifferent to the whole thing, which maybe I'm not the perfect person to be reviewing this film because I don't have this deep reverence or affinity for the series as a whole. Although, like I said, I like the first one and Curse of Chucky pretty good. They're just not like The Conjuring good or something like that. But anyways, on its own terms, I enjoy Brad Dourif's performance. I also thought that Cult of Chucky was full of at least competent actors and actresses. Like, nobody was distractingly bad. That said, nobody was like, good either. The guy who plays Michael was in particular very weak. Like, I wasn't buying him for a second. This movie also has this like bleached out white tone to it that you can tell it's an artistic choice to go in that direction, but it really doesn't add much in the way of style to the movie. It just looks like something they did in post. But the fact that they are still using puppetry and animatronics when, bringing Chucky to life is very commendable. Like, who would have thought back then that it would be the Child's Play series that was carrying the torch for this form of special effects that has all but gone away? And as somebody who's a longtime fan of that practice of filmmaking, I appreciate it, and it looks really good in this movie. And I like the gallows humor sensibility of Brad Dourif playing this character. He's a little more like Freddy Krueger than like some of the other slasher killers, and that he's always got something witty to say when he's murdering people. There's one really funny scene, I gotta admit, when he is haunted by this woman that thinks she's a ghost. And I really got a kick out of that. There were a couple times that I was, enjoying it. For the most part, I was just kind of like, whatever, I guess maybe I had expectations because of the Rotten Tomatoes score. But on a scale of 1 to 5, for me, I'm giving Cult of Chucky a 2. You get a big 2 from me, Cult of Chucky. Why do they call it Cult of Chucky? Here's the spoiler in 3, 2, 1, because there's multiple Chuckies this time around. That's right. Somehow Chucky had found on the internet a way to use a spell to transfer himself into multiple good guy dolls and even people. So that's what the hook in this one is. And I guess 3 Chuckies are better than 1. It's 3 times the thrills, 3 times the chills. Thank you guys for coming by. I hope you enjoyed this first entry into the series. If you did, then do me a favor and slash that like button. It really helps my weak and fragile self-esteem. And if you want to check out the rest of this series, all you got to do is click that little button that says subscribe on it, and you will be subscribed. Then you click the bell for notifications. And if you want to hit me up on social media, then follow me at Jeremy B. Terrible on Twitter. And if you want to have a conversation, I'd love to use the comment section for said conversation. Until the next video, I'm Jeremy. Be terrible.